Good evening. This is going to be super quick. I just wanted to hop on here for a few minutes and talk about something that's kind of piggybacking off of one of the last videos I posted. Um, but it's also just kind of been on my mind the last couple of weeks. The video I'm referring to is when, excuse me, I was touching on us living in a culture, I believe, where the focus is, as far as our connection and relationship to and with men, being about getting the money. And I've noticed that some women, probably a lot of women, feel that what makes a good provider is, how much money a man is able to shell out, or how much money a man does or is willing to shell out. But just because a man will pay for shit doesn't make him a provider. Some of it is what I like to call hush money. Okay. Now, the real difference between the two is, what the intention is behind it. Whether or not he is consistent. And this may not really sound like it matters or it goes along with this, but think about whether or not you have access to his life. Meaning, are you part of his schedule? Does he consider or include you in decisions that he makes? Does he include you or consider you in how he utilizes his time? All of those things matter because those are the type of things that go along with men who invest in women, and providers invest. Okay? Now, as far as I'm concerned, one of the key components with true provision is consistency. And men who are consistent don't have to be reminded of anything. They've already got a plan in motion. And if the plan doesn't necessarily need to be utilized in that way, they've already decided no matter what is needed, they're going to show up and follow through. Okay? They want to make your life easier, and they want to provide stability, because stability also provides or equals safety. Stability equals safety. So, good men want you to experience that. They want you to feel safe with them. Men who provide want you to feel safe with them. That's literally part of it. So, if you are getting all the money you need for whatever it is you want, but there's no consistency with communication, he's not, physically showing up for you, and there's no actual commitment in that relationship, that's not provision. That's hush money. Okay? Again, they invest. Providers invest. And men who just give money are usually trying to avoid a few things, whether it's responsibility, consistency, commitment. And hell, some of them just don't even really want to be held accountable for the other things that they do or don't do. So they feel like as long as they're, showing you their hand, then, that's enough. And for some women, it is enough. For some women, that is all they need and want. And that's fine. This is your life. So, you got to do what is best for you. But for women who feel, well, this is better than nothing at all, eventually that gets old, and it does nothing for you anymore. I I feel like there are seriously, truly, three real categories that providers fall into. More than three, but if you had to really narrow down the top three, providers are natural born leaders. You know, they know how to problem solve. And again, they are there physically just as much as they are there financially. Okay? So, okay. Men who demonstrate real leadership and who are actually capable of leading a woman through life will step in and never ever, hardly ever, I don't want to say never ever because nobody's perfect, but they will probably very seldomly have to actually be asked. And they make decisions that do show you and prove to you that they are capable of protecting you and providing stability as well. And at the very least, like if you're not even there yet where they're providing stability, they know how to stabilize a situation. So, this is really more or less about finding somebody who recognizes that there's a heavy mental load that you're carrying and they want to take some of the weight off of your shoulders. It's not about giving more money, it's about doing more. Okay, problem solving, a good problem solver. They're going to always be situationally aware because, they believe in planning. They have a plan. They always have a plan. And they always have a plan ahead of time. And again, even if whatever that plan is doesn't quite match the need at the moment, at the very least, he's still fully aware that you are more than likely to need him in some sort of way. And he is quick to tell you, don't worry about it. I got it. And he actually follows through and handles it. He shows up and he handles it. Real men, real provider men, they want to reduce your stress. They don't use money as a way to outsource care. They understand the difference. So, I think a lot of times it is very clearly mistaken that these things are considered luxuries in relationships. And they're not. They're literally tools. And money is one of them, but only one. But they're tools to actually build that safety that I mentioned earlier. So, showing up in person in addition to spending money, showing up emotionally, showing up mentally is what I consider to be, what makes a provider. And again, all of these things are tools that are needed to build safety. So yes, your money is definitely part of it, but if after everything is said and done and I'm still sitting here all alone in my problems, then what did that money matter anyway? Like ultimately, what was the point of it? Because the issue was never the finances. It's clearly a lack of leadership. You know what I mean? So I'm not criticizing men. This isn't even about men, okay? This is about understanding standards, especially when it comes to that. So, try to keep in mind, it may work for a while, it may feel good for a while, but money can't replace everything else that you need in order to feel stable, safe, committed to, invested in. It doesn't replace all of that. And, if quite honestly the money shows up more than he does, that's a red flag. and you need to be paying attention. Okay. That's all I got tonight. I told you it was going to be quick. Leave a comment. We can go back and forth like I always like to tell you. I don't want to go back and forth in an argument, but we can definitely talk about this. Men, chime in too, okay? I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night. Bye.